All right, we're live. G'day, ladies and gentlemen. It is the 14th of January 2026, and we have kicked off this year with a bang, it being a 1 year. And wow, it's on like Donkey Kong out there. Um, I'm not going to get into a full discourse this evening. I will, however, do a live on Sunday night that um, will paint the picture on quite a few things that you will be able to take advantage of, really. I'll touch on a couple of them this evening. There is a lot of chatter out there in the town square, rightly so. Reactivism is at its all-time high, particularly in the true views and attention economy, which is all fine. It all needs to play itself out, really, doesn't it? But with just some of the developments that we have all seen with, let's say, Venezuela, with Iran, for that matter, um, the T-Man pulling the US out of 66 orgs, the turning upside down of the food pyramid. There's quite a few things that have happened, at a rush. They've been on the cards for quite some time. And I believe it was a couple of years ago, I was speaking about rolling events and, one part to be positioned for that. Because ultimately we are in a new world. You just need to open your eyes to it. And what was once is no more. And yes, it can be very easy to get caught up with an emotionality depending upon how you want things to go, but you do not have control with that. You're just going to have to play with a straight bat, utilizing some cricket terminology, let a few go to the keeper and figure out what game that you're actually in. Now, the grand drama of things that's playing out, I cannot recommend enough of Prometheus Action. They are all over it. I highly recommend you subscribing to them, even their newsletter. They're going to give you the event stream that's taking place before it's actually happening. That's going to be able to assist you in being able to pivot your position or move into a position or see the longer game and put yourself in that. Because let's face it, the town square is amplified at the moment for good reason. I see in Oz, we have Chatham House and Serco putting a bit of pressure on their selected candidate, Albo, to kick up a storm. And that's fine. I had a few conversations over the last couple of days and people are stressing about it. And when I say, well, did you just think that that was not going to be a game in the book, particularly with what's going on in Minnesota? If you were to apply that as a command and control structure with the way a web works, with NGOs and other government programs that were rolled out in very specific years, you're going to see that across the Western world, there was something else really going on. I will touch on that briefly this evening and get more into detail about it on Sunday night because it's important. Because where does that take us? In Oz, it's crisis in leadership, spoken about that. But get on the other side of it if you can. Let some things play out because there's not just, let's say, money to be made, but there's a whole new game in town. Probably one of the most exciting things that I've been observing for a long period of time, particularly in Australia, is when the majority of people realize that the carbon game and renewable energy game has been a big hoax, and a lot of the red tape that's been applied onto us is a big hoax, that we would get to this pressure valve moment that would bring up a lot of other things, and we're there. So if you want to yell and scream, vent, you can, or you can just kick back and go, where actually is this going? And there is a fallout, and there is a crisis in leadership of what do we actually do as a nation, first and foremost, individually as well. Now, yes, has there been a whole heap of twisting and turning between male and female and all the rest of that crazy stuff? Yeah, that's still present, but only if you make it that way. And if people need to play that ideological identity out, that's their choice. So you go do that. There's a new game in town, and I just don't want to witness it. I want to participate in it. And if you are one of those people, Sunday night is for you. And for the dudes, Mega Skilled, lock in for a year. And I don't want to be all motivation. It's not about changing your life, but let's stand on the shoulders of the brilliance of the Western man, but also who you actually are in your living myth. I'll speak about that more later. But where I want to get to now, I'm going to give you guys a couple of hints. I'm going to play a game with you. We've heard a lot about rare earths, yeah? Okay. And China being rare earth holder. Question. Outside of China, who is the biggest holder of rare earth minerals? Drum roll. I'll give you a hint. It is not a country. It is not a man. It is a woman. Where does that woman live? That woman lives in Australia. Who is that woman? That woman is Gina Reinhardt. Yes. And you can go have a look at this. Between 2016 and 2020, did she spend a bit of time with Trump over there in the US? Indeed, she did. And the rare earth companies that she has a majority share of, they all have a problem. What is that problem? Why the fuck are we having to send our rare earth minerals to Malaysia to be refined? Why can't we boost production? There's all of this red tape. I want you to go back a month or two. That's right, Kerry. Gina Reinhardt. BHP Rio went over there to the US without any Australian representation and Australian government representation. And then a couple of weeks later, Albanese goes over there with Kevin Dudd. It's a very interesting space to watch that right now. Not all is as it seems. Because if you were to go and have a look at Kevin Dudd's kind of profile and the pivot that Australia took with Kevin 07, and then also the pivot that Australia took with Gillard, which she brought forward the NDIS, and Julia Gillard is a Fabian. So was Bob Hawke, so was Paul Keating, but that's a whole other discussion. I'm not going to get into that. But why are you getting into the rare earth mineral stuff? Okay. With the UN and some of the deals that were done in the 80s, I know Mel Gibson done a talk with Ronnie Martin. I've seen that popping around again, which is fantastic. We essentially sent all of our iron, we still do, we send all of our iron ore overseas to get refined, and then we buy it back and we get fucked over. You know, and I've been very bullish for a few years now that we get through this next period of time that we're a powerhouse in the making, not just with what we've got in the ground here, but we've got enough smarts. We've got a get going attitude when we've got a direction. And I don't know what it's like for you guys, but fuck, I just need a little gap now, just a little gap, and I am fucking straight through enough of this bullshit. It's fucking game time now, and it's exciting because the old world of BIS, City of London, and their empiricism through their banking system, that's falling apart, and it has been for a long period of time now. And a lot of it has been in conspiratory circles and even intel circles. But a lot of things have had to be put into place of moving from one system to another, because you can't just, even now people are yelling, screaming, and with Epstein, which I'll get into at the moment because it's a much bigger story. But you can't just go, oh, we'll go and arrest them, and like you need to understand the operation, and you don't just go and sack a whole department and think that that department's still going to run effectively. But the money laundering operations with Venezuela, Iran, and Ukraine, well, they haven't really been in effect anymore. Can't get into too much detail about it, particularly on these platforms. But there's been enough data and enough people who have subject matter expertise really roll that out. I may get into that on Sunday, but I don't think it's really important at the moment. But there's another thing that's just taken place. And it regards to the Venezuelan oil, because everyone's thought about it was all about the oil. Not really, but there was a game that was being played. If I was to ask you who controls the price of oil in the world, it's OPEC. Okay. And the US petrodollar, how was that created? Well, that was created by Bush kind of club and Rockefeller club. Okay. So the US petrodollar is actually a Rockefeller financial instrument, City of London, yada, 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 the Fed. With what just took place in Venezuela, who do you think is in control of the US petrodollar as we speak? Yes. Why do you think now they can actually go after the Fed and a lot of other this? So a lot of the money has really dried up. So hence why you're seeing the BIS crap, let's just call them that for now. Why do you think they're losing their shit big time? It's not that they didn't see that coming, because Maduro had an arrest warrant out for him in 2020. It was the timing element for bang, 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 bang. And there's more to come. Like, we're not even really at the hot point at the moment. Yeah, so pay attention to some things. Highly recommend listening to the Prometheus Action people. And if you've got the time, whether it's this weekend or whatnot, and put a strategy in play, because it's an exciting time if you make it that. Now, I would like to speak about nah, I can't. Not just yet. I wrote it down. I just thought about it. You're going to have to do some homework on this, Legends. I'm going to give it to you. There's a movie called American Made with Tom Cruise. Go and watch it. Okay? Go and watch it. If you want to get technical and you can go, is it a white hat movie? Well, to a degree, yes. But have a look at the year that it came out. And look what it is talking about with Barry Seals. Barry Seal. Pay very close attention to what state they were taking the drugs into. Pay close attention to when he gets arrested and what happens there. also pay really close attention to who he speaks to before he goes and meets the president towards the end of the movie. That is going to paint a picture of some things that are on the cuffs of beginning to come out in their own way. I know a lot of people are really pissed when it comes to the Epstein files because they're all just looking at it from the place of the PDF files. That's not, even though that's bad and what that was, but Epstein goes a lot further back. And for me, this is, the AI has opened up to a degree. But there's enough people out there that have been subject matter expertise or, have been shadowed that type of operation. But if you will go and type in Epstein connection to Iran Contra and follow that thread, you're going to go, holy fucking shit. What's going on here? What is this really about? And if you know what Iran Contra is, which it explains in that movie, and you get into a little bit more of it, because not all of it is explained in that movie, you're going to understand how far back this all goes. And the Clinton-Bush joint venture. Another one to have a look at is why was Haiti so important for the Clintons? And when they had that massive natural disaster, why was it the Bush and Clinton joint venture fund that went in there and had all of this money and nothing got done? Another interesting one. Another interesting one is that Pandora Papers, not the Panama Papers, the Pandora Papers. You don't need to go through it all. Some amazing journalists, I think there was like 65 of them, have already gone through it and mapped it all out. You're going to see some consistencies in that with houses in London and certain bank accounts in a certain area. What is that area? Well, where was the island? What are the Virgin British Islands really all about? We know shell companies and all the rest of that type of stuff. And I'm giving you a few things here, and I could sit there and spend an hour and kind of speak about it to you. But I think it would be best off if you were to go and actually have a look at it. Yes, you bang on, Kerry, because it's getting hot with all of that at the moment. All of it. But what I wanted to speak about with the Clintons is that when it comes to some of these characters, they're a creation, okay? They are a creation. Like George Soros, for instance, he is a creation of the City of London crowd. And if you have a look at who's running his operation at the moment, well, that operation, his son and Uma Aberdeen. What does Uma Aberdeen have connections to? Well, she has connections to the Muslim Brotherhood. That's another thread to go down if you want to go have a look at it. And if you're like, oh, Grant, why is that important? Well, what you're seeing kind of going on in Iran, and I know a lot of people are going to lose their shit with this one, but Hamas and Hezbollah are extensions of a lot of that, and the Muslim Brotherhood, which were a part of this City of London game, because modern day Israel right now is not Israel. Modern day Israel is a creation of the City of London crowd backed by Rothschild. It was always a game to be able to play out their, let's say, end time scenario, which isn't happening the way that they want. Is elements of that still going to take place? It has to. Um, and I suppose I've always been fascinated with how this was always going to come out in, end time drama sequence. And we're in it now, 2026 to 2030. Like, whoa, it's a rockin' baby. And what a time to be alive, to be a witness to it. Okay. But the testament of the times is how you actually participate. Yeah. Can you open your eyes to a new world and go that way? Or are there still some things that you need to play out, which is fine? Yeah. Like, it's the game in town, splitting of worlds. Like, fucking choose how you're dancing, but you're accountable to your choices and the blues that you play out. So lock in, be precise. But where I was getting to with the Sorrows got his money through shortening markets and all the rest of it, created a slush fund. But Elon Musk done, I don't know which one it was. He done a chat with Rogan. I'm not sure if it was his latest one or the one before. I forget. But he told you how Soros does what he does with NGOs. And what do you think the Clintons did? They followed that model, and quite a few others did. And through, fuck it, I'll say it. Actually, I won't. I'll give you some homework. I'm trying to do things so I don't get in trouble. I need to be present for the next little period of time because it's going to get hot, and I'm in the fight. If you were to go and type into Google now who the main contractor is for NDIS, you're going to see a certain company come up. You're going to go, what? What else are they into? If you want to know what Australia's deep state is all about, well, you've just been given a major piece. I don't know what all of these truthers and stuff like that out there are chatting about, but I don't really hear them breaking it down to operation and command. But anyways, that's their game. And why am I giving it to you? Because the power vacuum is going to open up. It already is. There's spots to fill. Get in the game. Get in it. Yeah, with whatever that is that you are looking at doing or want to do, want to contribute, want to play in, want to learn. It's an exciting time. Where's some of my attention is at the moment is, and I think it's fantastic. I can say, oh yeah, I told you that, but the reality is that I got told it. We had a conversation about it. I understood it, and then I told you. And this was very early on in 2020. Is it? And it does come down to social engineering as well. It's not until the narrative is actually met that you're going to be able to see which way it actually goes. And back then, the way that the algorithm was and the way that the cancellations were and all the rest of it, it was hard. It wasn't easy because it was controlled. It still is at the moment, absolutely, but there's a lot more people getting through the wall. And even though there's a few out there that you might not like, but you should respect them because they got bloody lips through getting through the wall first and really breaking things open. So give them their just desserts and their respect. I need a moment to think about this one. I'll make sure I get my words right. It's particularly taken place on Twitter. So you've had that, I forget his name, Nick, who really brought it to light with, I forget the other gentleman's name, that had been doing this out of his own time for 8 or 9 years, you know, and has got all the paperwork, all the rest of it. Like, there's a lot of people like that, particularly in the States. And there's quite a few in Oz that I know that haven't really popped out yet and gone, hey, here it all is. But that's kind of kicked off something. Was that organic? I think so. Has that been egged on? Absolutely. But if you were to just have a look at that for yourself, spend half an hour on it and go, wow, in the space of a short period of time, all of the fraud that everyone knows that's been going on, and you could go, why hasn't the government done anything? Well, they haven't been able to do it. Same as here in Oz, haven't been able to do anything because the numbers of the people aren't on board, and it's not driven by the people. Because right now, if you want to believe this or not, but this is the truth, is that we all have more voice in shaping the next period of time than what we are led to believe. Yes, there is a lot of yelling and screaming out there and a lot of reactivism. But just through that, Nick Shirley, that's right, Kerry, thank you. Look at what's going now. You've got people, popping out GoFundMe pages. Look, I've already started this. I'm prepared to quit my job and spend the next little period of time investigating this and where it becomes the court of public opinion is actually the court now. Okay, I'll repeat that. The court of public opinion is actually the court now. And I would like to thank all of the libtards out there because you have made it this way. And you decided to play fuck around. And now it's time to let's lay out all of the data and all of the things and let's play find the fuck out. Who's been talking shit? Who's been playing all the rest of the games? Do you want the truth? Can you handle it? What are you going to do with it? What an exciting time. So here we go. And I just seen on Oz, I did donate. Had a conversation with her yesterday. Gave her some pointers. She's put a there's quite a few of them. I think there's like 4 or 5 that have put GoFundMe pages out going, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to investigate. Why are there more NDIS centers than cafes in this area? Well, great question to start. So this is starting to sweep now. But as we're hitting these narratives, I suppose you don't have to do anything, and neither do I. But trust and verify who is who in the zoo. We've lived in an era for a period of time where it's kind of been an attention economy. Okay. In the so-called reality world, which is, a big blender at the moment with Truth World as well, is that there's a lot of reactivism to whatever comes out in the media, and that's rightly so, full credit. But do they actually have the subject matter expertise and understand the history of how far things actually go back to be able to educate to a degree that's going to give you an optic, different perspective, or to elevate for you to be able to go, okay, this is where it's going. I can make a better choice here. Or is it just truth attainment or entertainment? And that's on you and I. If you need to go and play in that game, that's fine. But there's enough quality, I'm going to call them legends at the moment, that have spent the time and can not just build out the detail, but, give it to you to see, which is exciting. because a lot of this stuff is going to come. I don't want to say grassroots, but let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at that, and it's going to force the crisis in leadership issue, and also um, there's a lot of difficult conversations that we all need to have, and um, we're going to have to choose who we want at the table to have those conversations. And the difficult part about it is at the moment is that everyone wants their voice heard and their opinion heard, which is rightly so. There's a lot of shit show that needs to be untangled. We need to get into some honesty. And, I suppose that really starts off with, I could say us, but we're better off asking questions. Um, and I suppose utilizing a bit of Socrates method and know who, maybe I know this person's got this lens. I know this person's got this lens. I know that, like be resourceful, be a maverick to come to your own conclusions with whatever questions that you're actually got. Um, it's exciting. And I suppose if anyone's got any questions, I'll happily answer them, but I suppose I'll polish it off with this. Um, there's quite a lot of you that been listening to me on and off for what is it? 5 years now. I don't really need to get into what I was really all about with all of that. I think I've done that. But I want to give a lot of you legends the props that you deserve. Because there's some of you that I know and that I get the pleasure of having conversations with. Portal Crew, there's a lot of you legends in there. We catch up tomorrow night. Even just out on the street and all the rest of that have made some really courageous decisions to, one, look at things differently. And the first thing of healing and deprogramming is having the courage to see it as it is and seeing your fucking role in it. Okay. And we don't like that. We're a bit allergic to that. We've still got a fair bit to go when it comes to that in the psycho babble of the town square. But anyways, I really want to give you guys the props and the credit that you deserve, because there's quite a few of you that have gone back into study. Some of you that have really slowed down in life and being able to smell the air, get back into the rhythm of life and the flow of who you are. And that has not been easy at all, particularly with all of the noise. And some have even taken let's say, a little bit of a financial risk, and some would say even a financial backwards. But your time is now. It really is. And I'm not saying that to blow smoke up your backside. Like, no more healing loops. There's no more healing journey or all the rest of it. Yeah. It's go time, baby. Freedom and liberty to be able to express yourself from here through, be a witness to it all, make good choices, and participate. Yeah. Morals, values, principles. Like, you know what they are now. Oh, I hope you do anyway. You know what lights you up. Get into that. And then as well too, there's probably some of you that have probably heard me say that and go, but I'm not there yet. Well, you're just in a silent witness phase. Keep doing what you're doing, but it really is an exciting time. Through these rolling events, it's gonna get fucking wild, but exciting. because you can't have an omelette without cracking some fucking eggs. And everyone's a bit scared about the eggs cracking because it's, but they who? And I'll go there with this. I said it before. There's all of this talk at the moment, the Jew, the Jew, the Jew, the Jew. The whole religion card is starting to beat like a fucking Cherokee drum. Good. Why would you say good, Grant? But they did this, they did that. Look at all of this. Okay, yes, rightly so. We're going to have to get to the question mark about all of this, aren't we? And what's going to be a little bit of an unveiling, a revealing of it, is Iran's been locked up for a long period of time, and the Persian culture, wow, there's a lot there. Wouldn't it be interesting if all of a sudden we discovered something that got us thinking in a different way of thinking? And you can go and type this in. Wasn't it a bit strange a couple of years ago that Iran just out of nowhere, well, it wasn't Iran, but anyways, news, they decided that they were going to claim some stuff in Antarctica. Why would they do that? If you go read that article, that was a signal. Because that area goes back a lot further in our history. Now, I want to speak about Judaism for a moment. And I will speak about the other religions, Christianity and Islam. And I'm not doing this to be a dickhead or I'm superior, all the rest of it. I'm just laying this out for you. And if you are an astute student, once again, there's enough people out there that have subject matter expertise that have done lectures for hours on all of this. Hours. Right. Yeah, I won't even get into those names yet. I'll do that on Sunday. But, Michael Tazarian deserves a lot of respect. I hope he gets it over the next period of time, particularly for his work with Ireland. But Judaism, we think, is a monotheistic religion. It's not. There is Yahweh worship and there is Asherah worship. Asherah? Who's Asherah? Well, Asherah has a consort. And that consort is Baal. What? And if you go into the Bible, and after Solomon died, let's say that kingdom broke up. And a little bit further on down the line, you had a king called Ahab. And he married Jezebel. And if you were to go into the Bible, well, you can even type this in the Google. What did they change? Are you going to see that, there's a lot there? And right now, in the Israel that is an extension of the club, where's the number one place in the world for PDF files? It's a major kind of Stargate area there. So there's some things to sort out. But where I'm getting to with, let's say, Judaism, is it comes down to Second Temple Judaism. I highly recommend that you go and understand what that is. Because in short, that is when the rabbis were able to place themselves as the authority with the Torah and the Talmud. Okay, where did the Talmud come from? It's a question for you to figure out. Okay. So there's a lot in what I just gave you to understand that things aren't always as they seem. And to kick off, I've said this before, and there's been some others as well, is that you've got the Phoenicians that turned into the Venetians, that then turned into the black nobility, the Vatican Bank. Yes. So there's a thread of many different things. So it isn't just them, it's a much bigger play. The same with what's going on in Ukraine. It gets rather complex. So when you're hearing it's the this, it's the that, ask yourself, does this person who is saying that actually understand the history? And if they don't, are they caught up in an asset program deliberately pushed into the algos that just continually yells and screams, that points out in very specific things? If that's a yes, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just that's the games that are being played at the moment. So ask. Now here's the next one. What I was getting with that, Rome has a lot to do with that part of the religion as well. Islam. Need to be careful now, don't I? But who was Muhammad's first wife? Go and have a look at that. Giving you guys a lot of homework tonight because it's important that you go type that in and see it. And then you might go, hang on a moment, Grant's actually helping us collecting a lot of threads to what's actually about to go on. Muhammad's first wife was an aristocrat. And you could almost say bloodline of a sort. And Muhammad was a merchant that helped her move, particularly from Syria. Go have a look at those merchant routes. But they had a problem. You know, it was rather barbaric back then. And going through certain areas, would have they been able to pick up on certain texts and stuff like that, and understand what that cult or mythology was before it became Islam. And then you're going to be come across with a question, and then you're going to go, wow, who helped them replicate what Constantine did to sort out a problem, to bring a lot of tribes together under one mind of, let's say, a kind of law to adhere to, and then put a middleman in place. Same as Catholicism. This part of history, it's personal to me through my own memories. And to be honest with you, a lot of the shit show that's going on now is because of it. And it has to do with William the Conqueror and what happened with the Norman invasion of the United Kingdom, where the Celts and the Saxons no longer became native anymore or tied to their living myth or anything like that. And the church imposed it, didn't they? But it goes a bit further back than that. You see, it actually goes back to a Viking called Rollo. I don't know if you that have watched the Vikings series, you might be thinking, is that Rollo, Ragnar's brother? Well, it's not Rollo Ragnar's brother because that was fiction, but that Rollo character is actually a decent portrayal of Rollo, who came in and basically had to convert to Christianity through the church, and he was given these lands. Yeah. Now, his bloodline is William the Conqueror. And if you were to go through Catholicism and you see those that had converted or done some things, you're going to see a generation or two later a sleight of hands take place. So when it comes to the religious card, that's going to be such a difficult one to play out. But across the seams, it's kind of bubbling. And it seems that the social tension and the pressure is really being put up on that. I'm a free choice absolutist. But if you want to make dumb choices, you can go and make them. I'm just giving you some of those things there to maybe get a little bit up to school with, not from a place of you've got some soft power over, but it will give you some scope upon the complexities of how that all will play itself out. I do not think we're going to get the truth at all. And to be honest, we're not ready for it, really. We're not. But there's certain elements of that game that are going to be forced quickly upon us. And the social fallout aspect of ideologies and religious ideologies becoming our identities, that has to play out. There's no other way. I know, like I had a chat to someone earlier today. I highly admire him and respect, because we can get into the minutia, of it. But we don't agree on everything. But yeah, because both, I get into the classics. He is too. But his view on it, which I disagree with, but once again, like, I can see his point is that there is no getting through the power vacuum with some type of stupidness. He said violence, and I can see where he's coming from with that, just because there's so much yelling and screaming about so many things, and everyone wants to be right. And I'm like, I agree. And where he and I agree on is, for instance, okay, once again, I'll use Epstein. A lot of people are yelling and screaming about Epstein because, for no other reason, because they want to be proven right. That's all. I want to be able to go, see, I told you. And there's a lot of that going on, heaps. And that's all really why they're yelling and screaming. Because they've said something, someone's gone against them, and it's like, fuck you, I need to prove something to you. Okay, we all have that to a degree. I sure as hell do at times, and then I just need to just click it into fucking neutral and just go, no, you don't, dude. No, you don't. That's a waste of fucking, it's a waste of give a fuck bucks. And I'm short on them at the moment, really short. So even within ourselves, sit there and go, well, how much am I, pissed about just wanting to be proven right when it's really self-evident now to quite a lot of things. So just move on. So yeah, it's kind of a little tricky time, isn't it? So yeah, where do you think Ricardo Bosi fits in with Oz? I don't know, Kerry. I don't know the answer to that at all. And if I was to speak, it'd just be my opinion. And I I don't listen to Ricardo because I have an understanding of where the source of some of the intel he speaks about comes from, and also some of the continued weekly thing of bringing people along. And I know that can be upsetting, but it's needed to happen. And once again, that will play itself out in the next period of time. I suppose, I can say this to you, and this is the fourth time I've had it said to me. Fucking doing its fucking voodoo. And it actually happened the other day on the United States Department of Labor page on Twitter. There's comms going on at the moment that are suggesting that part of the Q operations, part are going to become public to take people backwards in time to where they started, so that they can, as things are coming out now, like with Clinton's and a few other bits and pieces, there's already been a lot of, let's say, anons and all the rest of it that have done the groundwork for a lot of people. That then creates one of these tensions moments again, doesn't it? Where the media and the algo assets, there's a reckoning there. And we're at that tension point of it now. So let's see how that goes. That's always made sense to me, particularly if you look at it from a psychological operation phase that has these different markers and components in it. That is how you would do it, with being able to, particularly when one of the phrases is future proves past. There's certain phrases within that operation that are becoming very clear and evident, particularly in relation to their syntax. So I know I went a little bit off on a tangent there, love, but I suppose that's the block I'm in right now. And there's a few of you that know me personal enough, is that I haven't gone and done what I've done, and got to this point to not. Yeah, I'm locked in, ready to fucking go. Let's start building. It's action time. Get on board, help, or get the fuck out of the way. And for those that want to go and play silly games, will you win silly prices? And yeah, there is some growing in that as well. So, I'm not going to be facetious and a smart ass with all of that, but it is that. And I'm not a dickhead either to not understand that, I have some trip over my own feet moments to come, I suppose, but I'm a professional at it now, that I can do a somersault backflip, land on my feet, and do a fucking make a joke about it. But yeah, look, I'll leave you guys with that. There's a little bit of homework there for you, rather than getting into. Actually, I haven't watched it, but I did have someone tell me the other day that the Robin Hood series on Stan actually gives a decent description about what the Normans did in the UK. And that there is essentially been a massive model. And if you want another little hint, when did the City of London get its own sovereign jurisdiction? And I'll leave it be the year 10-6. There's a lot to play out with all of that. That's how far back some of this shit goes, man. So, yeah. And I would like to have a chat to the lads. Healing time's over. Stepping into or becoming the builder that you are. Let's have a chat. I have Flame and Forge, which is I'm excited because I've been hanging to do this type of stuff for a long period of time. Lock in for a year, and yeah, like balls to bones. Yeah, like it's in you to actualize and realize. With instruction sets, there's a lot entailed into that. I'm not going to get into the marketing on sales pitch, but if you sense that there is something going on here, let's have a chat and get you going in there, because there is something different for a man when he comes to know the shoulders upon he stands on. And men see themselves in other men. There has been a lot of, how could we say it, Grant, without being a dick? It's been easy to do a lot of this in the Misrule narc era. And we've been in it for a long period of time. And we've all been subject to it. We have. So there's no fucking innocence in any of it. But if you can see it, then you can start to go, hang on, there's a bit more here. And do I see men who have hollowed bones and burnt clean? I should actually have a conversation with them, because who touched them when they were hollowing bones? What was going on there? That is how one comes to know their own power, is they recognize it in another, and then they're able to see it. Not this Fugazi game where you can just keep talking about some things that you don't really know nothing about, that are half-truths, that are actually worse than lies, because half-truths you actually end up believing. We've all done a game with that. So, you know, we're all on the checkerboard with that one. But once again, it's a choice now of, okay, what actually, you know, gets my pistons pumping, Yeah, commitment, balls to bones, principles, morals, code that I live by, principles. It's all there. It's just how one chooses to dance with that. We can get a little bit woo for a moment as well, because it's not like that you haven't done it before. Because let's be very real, yeah, you have to have qualified to be alive at this time. You have chosen to be here to witness how you participate is the testament of the times, because it is what comes next that we do, not they, not but. It's the game of domination and control, and the narc arc is being turned off. Freedom, liberty, and the power to express yourself in truth, from truth, and be a pillar for that, even if it is going to cost you something. That there is what divine authority is. Or one could say, I'll leave you with that. So, lads, it's game time. Lock in. It can be exciting, because it's not just a nation that we have to have the opportunity of building in a new image, but opening our eyes and living in a new domain of knowing. So I will catch Portal Legends tomorrow night, and Sunday night. Let's get into some more detail that will help you out. I know I did say as well that I wouldn't be doing any more of these, but I thought just with the beginning of the rolling events that event stream has well and truly kicked off, where there's a few things there where it's like, okay, cool. Because if you have at least heard it, when it starts to happen or come close to it, there isn't that anxiety, and you're not going to get caught up in the reactivism game. You are going to be able to listen to some people that have subject matter expertise on the matter, and are going to be able to go, this is this and this is that. This is what we know. This isn't what we know. And the exciting part about it is that Donald Trump put a photo of a golden Trump Tower in Greenland in 2019. There's a lot of, we could say, comms and signals that have been utilized to be put into the digital common field. And everything is being tested and measured at the moment. So, oh, bless me. What I'm leaving you with that there is that a lot of things have already been, let's say, agreed to, but do need to play themselves out. And some of them need to have a heightened effect to have heads out of ass and heads out of the ground, and maybe actually see some things in a different way, and not to play the us and them game, but That has been their choice. Bless them. They ask for help. I have a question. Play your part if you want to. But pull the revision mirror off. Click it into high gear. And just keep moving. All right. I'll catch you legends on Sunday night. And for the lads, hit me up. It's an exciting time. Don't waste this next 18 months. Yeah. Actually, I'll go there. If you made some fuck ups, some dodgy choices, all the rest of that type of stuff, great. You've learned. In the solar world, I might add, you have scars that have turned into sigils. Do you know the power of them? What that actually is? Maybe, maybe not. You know, there is an alchemical transmutation process that one can go through to turn that sigil into living wisdom. No matter all the rest of that shit and even the nonsense to what's going on, you can make some very impactful choices, whether that's with me or on your own, over the next period of time. As long as you're asking yourself the right questions and being as brutally fucking honest with yourself. Yeah, brutally. How you choose to do that, that's up to you. But if you can burn clean, lads, like burn fucking clean, hollow those bones and be like, okay, discipline is a word I've used. Well, I use a lot, but that has been fucking thrown into the blender of craziness with personal development and fucking therapy talk and all the rest of it. Fine, it's what it is. But discipline equals choices. And I have no doubt that you've had a period in your life where you've made a couple of really good choices based upon discipline. Maybe some of them might have been like, I'm not drinking tonight, or I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing that then led you into another choice on another. It isn't just about going to the gym and all the rest of those types of things, or doing the hamadas and the fucking breath work. That's all great. But discipline to choice and the code that you actually live by and your commitment to that, that's a whole other game. If you can get there, you're already a mile ahead. And I just want to leave you with that, because if you can do that, it's an exciting time for a man who has tasted the dirt, had blood on his lips, and even broken a few bones in the solar world of living. And let's be real, in Misrule, there's been a lot of men do a lot of this, live in a lot of this. But when it comes to when the sun is beaming down at noon, there's no spine there. There's only a finger going like this to see which way the wind blows before they speak. You can't burn clean that way. So, legends, have fun. Ladies, muse time for you legends as well. But that's not my game at the moment. We need to get the Builder Kings back. Let's get at it. Cheers.